When the DC Universe is threatened by Insomnia, a new villain who hopes to weaponize our heroes' darkest nightmares against them, will Bruce Wayne overcome his worst fears or succumb to them finally? Well, let's hop into the pages of Night Terror's Batman issue number 1 and find out together, shall we? So then, this new tie-in issue actually takes place sometime in the past. We know it's the past because Alfred is still alive. Batman says to his beloved butler that his enemies are always trying to get into his head. Whether it's Joker venom, or fear gas, or Mad Hatter tech, or even poison ivy pheromones, there always seems to be someone trying to play psychological warfare with Batman, and because of that, the Dark Knight has vowed to learn how to defend himself. In order to do that, Batman planned to enter a sensory deprivation tank for 24 hours, wherein he would try and tackle his very worst fears head-on. You know, this is an actual real fear therapy thing. I'm pretty sure Richard Nixon tried to do this. I mean, it didn't work, but he tried. Now, you don't need to be an armchair Arkham psychologist to know in Batman's case, his worst fear, his worst nightmare always seems to come back to that horrible night in the alley when Joe Chill murdered his parents. In fact, after coming out of the tank, Batman begins to think to himself that no matter how hard he tries, he will never be able to overcome his worst fear, and that the only way he'll ever truly be free of all of this trauma is if he completes his mission to end all crime on Earth, which of course we know is an impossible dream, so yeah, never gonna happen. Which is honestly a pretty damn dark and dour way to start off this two-part tie-in. Now from there we transition on over to the present. You'll remember that Batman, along with the rest of the world, had been put to sleep by the brand new villain Insomnia. Which, you know, just saying that out loud feels weird. Insomnia put people to sleep. That's an oxymoron. In this nightmare world, Batman is subjected to all the usual suspects. He hears twisted versions of his parents' voices beckoning him into the alley where they died. He gets dragged into a creepy, dilapidated version of the Monarch Theater, wherein a video begins to play. I think the funniest thing about this is that Batman pretty much no-sells everything Insomnia is trying to do right now. Oh, you're trying to make me scared, huh? You're trying to make me face my worst fears? Yeah, I'm Batman. I relived the death of my parents literally every day, man. This is not new. What is new, though, is thanks to movie magic, Batman is able to briefly see what's happening to his body in the waking world. You'll remember that at the end of First Blood, Deadman Boston Brand had possessed Batman's body for safekeeping. Unfortunately, though, Batman can't actually force himself to wake up as long as Boston is piloting his body. Geez, all those years in that sensory deprivation tank trying to master fear and the art of sleep, and Batman never once considered a scenario wherein he would both be asleep and possessed at the same time. Geez, and I thought Batman prepared for everything. It's after that the venue changes from the Monarch Theater to stately Wayne Manor, wherein Batman is forced to face the tombstones of not only his two parents, Thomas and Martha, but also Alfred. Again, Batman is not shook at all by any of this, saying he's been down this road numerous times before, be it with the Scarecrow or Black Mercy. And honestly, it is true, Batman has probably had more versions of the face your inner darkest fear story than just about any other character I can think of in fiction. It is here, though, that Insomnia chooses to make a physical appearance dressed in a macabre Robin costume. He claims that he's not actually controlling anything that Batman is seeing right now. He ain't Freddy Krueger and this ain't Nightmare on Elm Street. Batman's mind is actually dictating everything he's seeing right now, and Insomnia is just giving it the power to come to life and actually hurt him. And yeah, sure, maybe Batman isn't afraid of death, his own death, or the death of his many friends and family, but maybe what he's really afraid of is happiness. You see, Insomnia takes the form of Catwoman in the dress she was supposed to wear for the wedding that never actually happened with Batman, which I will admit is actually a nice little bit of connective tissue because Batman and Catwoman are actually dealing with their own personal romantic falling out in the main Zdarsky book right now. Still though, Bruce's comeback remains the same. You say I'm afraid of happiness, I say Also, for good measure, I'm rubber, you're glue, anything you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Nah. It's also around here too that Insomnia lets it slip that he's apparently from Gotham and actually grew up as something of a Batman fan before eventually getting so fed up with Bruce lampshading and undermining the entire Night Terror's concept, he decides to take things up a notch with little Bruce vomiting up a horrible half-bat, half-gun monster that Insomnia claims is the true manifestation of Batman's greatest, deepest, darkest fears. The twisted creature ends up shooting Bruce, but I suppose we're not playing by Nightmare on Elm Street, the rules where if you die in the dream, you die in real life, because all it really ends up doing is unlocking a new form for Dream Batman, wherein he becomes basically a gargoyle. Yeah, alright, I can rock with that. Batman says that this is only proof to him that the only way out through this night terror is to go deeper into his own subconscious. Only then can he regain control of his body from Deadman and defeat Insomnia for real, though the villain says that Batman might not want to go any deeper into his psychosis because he might not like what he sees on the other side. And as the comic comes to a close, Batman ends up quantum leaping into the body of Joe Chill on the night his parents were murdered. And you know what, this would probably be more of a shocking image if I didn't remember that Harley Quinn Season 3 literally did this exact same scene, and maybe a little better too. And so that was Night Terror's Batman issue number 1, everyone, and ultimately I thought, well, you know, there's nothing honestly wrong with it, but there's nothing particularly exciting about it either, not at all helped by the fact that basically from page 1, Bruce isn't taking anything that's happening in the story or the event seriously, and I mean, geez, if he's not gonna take it seriously, why should I, the reader? Honestly, this is kind of becoming a recurring issue in Williamson's work. I remember basically the exact same thing happened in Dark Crisis with Nightwing and a bunch of the older heroes not even believing that this crisis could really be the end. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I like being too clever for the room too. If any hero probably would shake off a psychic nightmare dream attack, it would be Batman for all the reasons stated in this story. It's just having the character in the story say that this is nothing we've seen before doesn't change the fact that this is nothing we've seen before. Yes, some of the imagery is pretty damn cool and interesting, and the designs are fun. I can also appreciate how they're choosing to dole out little breadcrumbs of information regarding Insomnia, who he is, where he came from, and why he might want the Nightmare Stone. It's just as it stands right now, I don't think any of this was strong enough to justify a 2-part tie-in. Overall, though, I would give it a 6 out of 10. That's mostly for the art. Maybe issue 2 will be a little bit more interesting and going some bolder, more unexpected directions, but who's to say? Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.